Hi everyone, my name is Leandi Van Zyl. I'm the head sports scientist at Reliance Foundation. Today I will talk to you about the importance and implementation of a warm-up. A brief overview of what I'll be talking about today is why a warm-up is important, the problems associated with an ineffective and insufficient warm-up. Then I'll discuss the ramp method and its phases of warm-up in detail. The ramp method is an easy way to structure your warm-up to make it more time efficient. Before we start with the importance of a warm-up, we need to understand what is a warm-up. A warm-up is a set of systematic preparatory exercises and movements done before a workout or competition in order to get our bodies into a position to perform optimally. So why do we do a warm-up? The two biggest reasons are to improve performance and to reduce the incidence of injury. When looking at any sport, you want to be able to stay in the sport as long as possible without injury, and you want to perform at your best. A warm-up also has a psychological effect where it helps you mentally get ready for a workout or competition. So what is the problem? The overall problem seen generally with warm-ups is that it is most times not done or not as intense as it should be. Then when athletes do take part in warm-ups, they tend to have wrong, ineffective methods or techniques. One of these methods is static stretching. Static stretching is stretching a muscle to its furthest point and maintaining or holding that position. Research suggests that static stretching does not allow the body to properly prepare for the activity. Next, we will look at the movement pyramid. The movement pyramid is a way to show what areas of movement need to be efficient before you are able to optimally move in sport. The fundamentals of movement is mobility, stability, balance, flexibility, and strength. But what is important to see here is that the fundamentals of movement, the lower part of the pyramid, such as mobility and stability, can be incorporated in an easy way into your warm-up to make sure you are moving well before doing strength, endurance, or power sessions and move on towards your sport-specific session. Many athletes skip the fundamental part, and that causes problems or injuries later on. The ramp protocol is an easy way for you to remember what to do before any workout. First we have the R, which is raise, A, activation, M, mobilization, and P, performance or potentiation. Firstly, the raise phase. Here commonly you would look at running around the field. It is important to realize that this phase will look different depending on what kind of workout you are doing. Running, cycling, or skipping would typically be used before a gym session. Whereas if you are preparing for an on-field skills training session or competition, you would do some basic level sport-specific drills such as multi-directional movements. How does the raise phase affect our body? Like you can see in the picture, it increases blood flow and heart rate, it increases respiration rate, increases body temperature, and decreases viscous resistance in the muscles. Muscle viscosity basically means the tightness or stiffness you feel after waking up or after sitting for a long period of time. Your body needs to move for the muscles to be ready for exercise. Activation. What is activation? It is engaging specific muscle groups that will improve overall movement. It depends on your sport and it depends on the individual athlete. Some athletes need to work on specific muscle activation more than others. In specific sports, there are injuries that are common. The activation phase can be used to prevent these specific injuries. For example, we know that sprinters usually have hamstring injuries. Including some hamstring exercises can prevent these injuries. This is called rehabilitation, as a way to prevent injuries before they happen. As a part of activation, we have dynamic stretching. Here it is important to distinguish between static and dynamic stretching. As mentioned earlier, static stretching is stretching a muscle to its farthest point and holding or maintaining that position. On the other hand, dynamic stretching is active movements where joints and muscles go through the full range of motion. Research suggests that dynamic stretches can positively impact performance through increases in power, agility, sprint performance, and jumping ability. However, static stretching has negative effects on performance by a decrease in force production, power performance, running speed, reaction time, and strength endurance. We use static stretching as a cool-down technique after a workout only. Dynamic stretching needs to form a part of a holistic warm-up protocol. Here you can see a few examples of the same. Mobility. Mobility is the ability of a joint and muscle to move freely around without any restrictions. Our body's joints are divided into stable and mobile joints. Stability is when a structure is able to maintain a specific position despite forces being placed on it. If we look at the body, it is divided into specific joints with specific functions. When we start from the ankle, we can see that it needs to be mobile. The knee needs to be stable. Hip joint needs to be mobile. Lumbar spine stable. Thoracic spine mobile. And cervical spine stable. If a joint is not able to perform its function, we usually see dysfunction above or below that joint. For example, if an athlete has poor ankle mobility, the knee might become more mobile instead of stable, and this might lead to pain in the knee, ankle, or even the hip. So instead of working on individual muscles, you can work on movement. And lastly, there is the performance and potentiation. Performance here indicate that we want to reach the same intensity as the workout, training, or competition session. Potentiation is exercises that directly improve performance during the competition, workout, or training session and stimulate the nervous system to be ready. These includes jumping or sport-specific technical drills.